Hey everyone, and welcome to today's video in which I'm going to tell you when your track is ready to get released. Because I noticed that a lot of producers and artists always are in doubt with themselves, like when is my track ready and when is my track to the level on which it should be released. So I'm going to give you a few tips and tricks today about this, but I want to start off with a quote which is working for me a lot actually, and has been working a lot for me in the past. One man's crap is another man's treasure, which actually means that you really could like the track, but someone else can really hate it. So music is something that everyone has his own opinion about, so you can really like a track, but someone else can hate it, which means that your track can be good even though you don't like it. So this one is really important to think about. Put it on paper, put it next to your desk, and make sure to watch to it every time your track is being mastered or mixed, and just make sure that this is something you can live to. So let's start off with the first tip. Don't be a perfectionist. And I'll explain to you what I mean with this. It's really good to have high standards, and it's really good to be sure that your track sounds good and that it's all being mixed well and that it's all being mastered well. But it's a different story to be a perfectionist. Because if you're being a perfectionist, we all know the people who have been mixing a hi-hat for 2 days. In my opinion, that's not the smartest way to go, because no one will know the difference between a hi-hat being mixed really well or a hi-hat being mixed a little less. As a producer, you have a lot of knowledge about producing and you have trained ears, so you will maybe know the difference between a really good kick and a less good kick. But your mom or your sister or your brother or a friend of yours, they will never know the difference between a mixed kick or a kick with a high peak on 50 Hertz, you know. So there's a difference between being a perfectionist and being just really producing at a high level. The second tip I'm going to give to you is test it. Because a crowd will always give you an honest opinion. If you show your track to your mom or to your sister, they will always keep their opinion a little bit softer because you're family or they're your friends, so they will not always tell you the truth about what they think about the track. If you play it in front of a crowd, if you have a gig in the weekends, just play it in front of the crowd and you will definitely know what the reaction of the crowd will be. So you can immediately see if it's gonna work on a dance floor or if it isn't gonna work on a dance floor. So testing your track is one of the most important things to me, because a crowd's opinion will always be honest, and that's the thing you're looking for here. Let's go to point number 3. Compare it. I'll explain to you what I mean with this. I always like to put my track into a mini mix, which I made in Ableton Live, and I always wanted to do this because if you put it in between other tracks that you know work really well on the dance floor, on which you know that it sounds well or being mastered really well, and I just put my track in between other tracks and start mixing it. So when I start mixing the track from one track to the other track, I can notice like, hey, is there something missing? Am I missing some bass? Am I missing some hi-hat in comparison to the other track? So I always did this mixing thing, and just to be sure and that I didn't notice anything weird during the mixing, because that was for me a really important thing to see like, hey, it's sounding the same as the other track, so the sound is well, I can test it in the club tonight. And now the most important sentence of this complete video. Just start, because without starting you will never know how things are going to work out for you. You will never be sure if your track is going to do well on Spotify, if it's going to work well on the dance floor, if someone likes it at all. Just put it out there as long as you're happy with it, and as long as you know that it sounds well and that it sounds in the same with other tracks. Just put it out there, give it away for free, find a label to release it on, but just make a start, because if you never start, you will never know how things will end. So this is the most important thing, and always remember that one man's crap is another man's treasure, because you never know what someone else will like, and you never know which track will be your best track. Thanks for watching this video. I'm doing more of these tips and tricks every day, so you can visit my website, which is artistcoaching.nl. There's more tips and tricks over there. You can also check out my podcast, on which I have conversations with people from the industry about music, about the future of the music industry, and about a lot of other subjects. So or just go to artistcoaching.nl and you can find all the information you will need in there. So thanks again for watching. I hope this helped, and always remember, just start, and one man's crap is another man's treasure. Thanks.